Hello everyone, welcome to this session. Our chapter is map work, and we are still discussing about measuring distances. So far in our previous video, we saw how you can measure the various distances, for example, straight or curved distances, such as using the piece of paper. So today let's move on to the other technique or other way which you can measure distances. We'll see measuring distances using a pair of dividers. So we'll be using this pair of dividers to measure straight distances or curved distances. So we'll start measuring straight distances. Here are the procedures. First, you have to locate the distance to be measured on the map and mark its two ends using a pencil. Simply like that. If you've located the points which you want to measure, maybe point A and B. Now after that, use a pair of divider to measure the distance between the two endpoints on the map. Now we can use that pair of divider just to measure the distance between those two endpoints which we've marked in step 1. Now if the distance is longer than the length of the dividers, even when fully stretched, now measure the distance in sections. So you divide the distance in sections, then you measure the distance in sections, then sum up the length of all those sections to get the total length. Now after taking that, place the divider on the linear scale and read the distance, then use the distance to convert the obtained map distance into the ground distance. So that's simply how you can use the pair of dividers just to measure straight distances. Moving on, measuring irregular, curved, or bent distances. We've seen there are two kinds of distances. There are those straight ones and there are those curved or irregular bent distances. Now measuring irregular or curved or bent distances, you can measure by using two methods. Using this pair of dividers, there's division method and stepping method. Now talking about division method, here the procedures: first divide maybe the figure or the kind of feature which you want to measure, maybe the river, road, railway, etc., into many short straight distances. Now after that, open your dividers, then measure all the distances as shown in the figure. You're going to see the figure below. Now add up the map length of all sections along the route. Now after that, use the linear scale just to get the actual ground length from the sum obtained in step 3 above. Now the length of the route is equal just to the sum of all sections, divisions, or short distances. And here is how it is. Now we've used that pair of divider. We've marked those various sections of, maybe this, take an example, maybe this is the river on your map. Now we've marked all these parts. Now after that, we're using the divider just to get the precise distances. Now you can add up all those distances. Now when you take the divider, when you measure the point maybe from point A and B, when you obtain that amount, you put it in the actual scale yet just to obtain what the distance may be from AB. Now after putting them in the actual scale, we get that AB is 1 kilometer, BC is 1 kilometer, also CD 1 kilometer, DE 2 kilometer, EF 0.5 kilometer, FG 2 kilometer, GH is 0.5 kilometer, HI is 1 kilometer, IJ is 2 kilometer. Now after obtaining these precise measurements of all these sections, now we just add up all of them and we get the total length, that is 10 kilometer. Hope that's clear. Moving on, the stepping method. Now in stepping method, here the procedures: just open and set up the pair of dividers to a known distance by using a linear scale, example a quarter or a half of a kilometer as shown in the figure below. So here it is, as you can see the figure. Now follow up the river road or line by stepping along it using a set of dividers. Now after that, just add up the number of these steps and multiply them by a quarter or a half a kilometer, depending on the set or length that is set, give or just given. So that's the stepping method. So I hope that's clear, everyone. Thank you for listening. We've discussed the how you can measure these straight distances and those which are straight ones and those which are curved or irregular distances by using a pair of dividers. We've seen clear procedures on how you can do them. I hope that's okay. Thank you.